Mike Wazowski in this guy's face, am I? No.
All right.
Mike Wazowski's.
All right. 3.
Sound like a fucking goblin.
2.
Handful of squirt of mustard.
Come on, let's go.
Sugar coated donuts making me horny. You know what I mean?
Oh god.
My name is Enoch. God, I can't even do it right now.
Redo it. Fuck. Oh, I was just kidding.
3, 2. My name is Enoch. This is Marcus with the dumb, stupid beat. 2 idiots to the left over here. No. This is After Horizons. Erin.
Wow,
Baker.
that hurts.
Erin Martin with the mask. And you're listening to Fallen Hour Radio.
Got a murder mask on. You gonna call me an idiot?
I'm geared up to kill your ass.
No shit. It's like I got fucking shit. All right, I can make it happen.
He's got a katana.
Well, we are here tonight. This is our Halloween series, and we got Erin Martin and Erin Baker back for our Halloween series yet again, a crowd favorite. And tonight we are telling ghost stories yet again, and we have some.
There's a lot of breathing going on in these places,
Dude, a lot of big guys.
But that's a lot of man in this room. You just got to deal with
it. Manly in here.
Smells like man in this place.
When there is no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth.
If you're not of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, you're not welcome here.
In the middle of the night, ghosts tried to talk to me.
It's interdimensional, so we are living in a multi-dimensional environment.
He's bending down, doing something. He says he sees a shadow. He turns around and there's nobody there.
The power of Christ compels you.
I want you to tell me whether you remember what happened to you when you died.
Then I had an hemorrhage and not fell asleep. And I died. They'll call me downstairs.
How does it kill you, though?
My faith, God.
So, I mean, how do you want to start this podcast? Do you want to like theorize with them and while they're talking about their stories, or
maybe let them tell the story and then we'll kind of do that afterwards.
Right.
So we'll get through one story and then we'll kind of talk about that. He's not going to be able to fucking help it. I said, dude, let's mute the mics and then we'll talk.
Dude, I bet his first word's going to be like, oh, interesting.
Interesting.
Oh, my.
No. Now it's just a soundbite. No. It's
I even muted the mics and this guy couldn't help it. He had to unmute it and start talking.
That's great.
All right, so let's start with your most mild story.
Most mild story.
And then we'll progress from there.
My most mild story?
I've got a you go and then I'll tell a mild one.
All right, I got a vapor in here. Always got to mention
Jesus,
that.
He can't
but
do it.
I'll mute my mic.
We still hear you on these mics.
He's muted. Go ahead.
All right, cool.
You're still gonna hear it, dude. Watch. Go ahead.
All right, so I used to work at Town Pump.
Dude, just wait till he's done. We'll take a second. You can take a hit, and then we'll keep talking. All right.
Dude, so about like 10 years ago now, me and a bunch of homies worked at Town Pump together. And one of them was my homie Chuck, and then Ryan. And then I think Kenny French worked there too at the same time, which he's dead now. But the place was haunted, and you would never think that a gas station would be haunted, especially at Town Pump. They're fairly fucking new, you know what I mean? But there's always strange stuff happening there. And Chuck worked graveyard, and me and the rest of the guys worked in the morning. And during that summer, it flooded really bad in Hardin. Like, remember all the rain and shit used to go out like south of town. It almost looked like the freaking ocean was there.
Yeah.
Well, it was that same year, and we had closed Town Pump because the power had went out. And so we were all just in there like messing around because they don't actually have keys to lock the doors because it's a 24-hour gas station. So there's always somebody there. And so we had to sit there and pretty much man this place while there's no power. Nobody could come in, get fuel or anything. And so like we're doing normal stuff. Like we caught up on some stocking and like cleaned the place up a little bit. And we were like jamming to music. Well, I fucking hear this fucking crash from the back room. And Town Pump's remodeled now. So it isn't like it was. Like up by the registers, there used to be like the deli behind a wall in the back. And then in the side door, behind a wall was like the pantry, and it was like 3 different rooms. The first room was like a almost like a utility room. It had like tools in there,
Yeah.
and like you got the ice machine was in there, and then the one after that was all the shit for the deli, like the buns and stuff for the burgers. And there's a giant fucking red toolbox full of wrenches. They're at the very top shelf in that utility room. And all the shelves had like a lip on it, you know? They were like angled, but with a lip. So nothing can move off of there. Heavy. This thing was probably like 30 fucking pounds. And so we're all doing whatever, you know? I think it was me, Kenny, and Chuck there. And all of a sudden there's a crash in one of those rooms. And we're all standing at the front BSing because the boss ain't there. So we're slacking as hard as we can. And freaking fucking loud crash. So we go back there, and this thing of wrenches had flown off the freaking top shelf. Like it had to get past that lip, and it's like 30 pounds. And instead of falling straight down, it was across the room.
Whoa.
Nobody else in the building. So that fucking freaked us out, you know? Like we're trying to like recreate it to see like how it would happen.
How it happened,
There's
right.
like no way to push all those wrenches off. It was just freaking weird. And then like a couple nights later, my buddy Chuck was working graveyard. Like we had power and stuff again. And he seen this freaking guy there with a cowboy hat. He said he was dead. He didn't see the guy go grab anything. And he was there. He turned around to grab something. The guy was gone, but his drink was still there.
Oh, what? What the hell?
Like a fountain drink. And it wasn't there before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then and he said that happened a couple different times. He seen a guy with a cowboy hat in there. You know, not like an old cowboy, but like just an old timer with a cowboy hat. And fucking, it's happened a couple times. He had a fountain drink and it just show up at his register, but nobody was in the store.
That's freaking weird, dude.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird place. And then I don't know what it's like now that they remodeled it like twice since then.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's gotten worse.
You would think it would. They say
Yeah, like when you
remodeling.
when you change the environment and remodel and do stuff,
Yeah.
it stirs them up, pisses them off.
That place is just super kind of creepy to work at, especially at night. Because I work night shift quite a bit. Well, not like graveyard shift, but like the 3 to 11 or 4 to midnight shift.
Mm-hmm.
And graveyard always fucking like skipped out on work. Before Chuck worked there, he was pretty good. But so like I'd end up staying from freaking like 4 in the afternoon to about 4 or 5 in the morning working there. And man, it just sucked. Just weird. You'd go back into that pop cooler and feel all weird back there.
You just
So
get that
it's got like
creepy
some
vibe.
real poltergeist activity there for some
Yeah,
stupid reason.
Right.
Like the amount of force it would take to lift
A 30-pound
toolbox
full
off a
of
shelf
wrenches.
with a lip on the end of it. It literally has to come up, over, and across the room.
Across the room, yeah.
That's a lot of
And
force.
you know, it was so full of shit you couldn't even shut it. It was just one of those red fucking steel
I
like
know,
handyman.
one of my work truck. I know
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you're talking about. Yeah.
And like to get it all the way across the room, to like yeet it across there without wrenches falling.
Yeah.
Before that, all the wrenches were on the other side of the room. It was fucking crazy. I don't think I could have done it myself. Like have to shot put that thing across the room. Like,
Alley-oop.
not without shit going everywhere.
Nope.
Yeah.
Dude, that's creepy. Just thinking about like visualizing it. You know, that's creepy, man.
Right. Freaking, it's kind of gross.
You can't yeet what has already been yoted.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's just a little story I got.
What was that sound effect you had on there?
Yeah.
There it is. I was wondering when that was going to come out.
You need to get the fucking wah.
You should have did that to his joke, dude.
It's A. It's
Hey,
A.
I
I'll
see it.
remember.
I know.
D.
There was one podcast we all had to trash because that's all I kept doing.
The whole damn thing. Just barely hit start there.
Fucking all excited with his new toy.
There was like one in there. I was like, all right, I like that. Good use of that button, but the rest was just trash.
Did I get to lie, dude? That camera just flipped out.
Is it still recording?
Like the screen looked like it panned between two cameras real quick.
Oh, strange.
Oh yeah.
That was weird. It's normal now. I don't know. I just caught that out of the corner of my eye. I was like, what the fuck?
It's getting creepy.
Yeah.
We can start worrying when it starts recognizing more than one face. And
Dude, why'd you have to fucking say that?
Yay, facial recognition.
Dude, it creeped me out when when Xbox first came out with those Connects.
Oh, yeah.
And I walked into the camper where my little brother was staying in, and it signed me in. Recognized my face and signed me in. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's kind of getting weird out there with the technology.
Yeah.
It's getting creepy.
Yeah.
Welcome, Wheezy Baked 1991. I was like, ugh. I was like, what the fuck? He was like, there's a Connect. Facial recognition. I was like, that's fucked up.
That is fucked up.
All right.
So
on to the next one.
I guess that's my turn then, huh? Okay. This one, it's almost kind of entertaining a little bit. It's actually the same time period. I was renting this little house across on the other side of town, and my whole living room was set up kind of like this room. Only had the full drum set. It was our rehearsal space, and then I just kind of lived in my bedroom.
Right. Is that when you lived in the house across the courtyard?
Yeah.
Yeah. I almost called it the cul-de-sac.
The cul-de-sac. The old sack.
The old sack.
I've got one of those.
Oh my god.
But it was the same time period as his Town Pump. But and actually, we had just, when he was working at Town Pump, we had just started kind of meeting those guys.
Yeah, Chuck and Ryan and all those dudes. They had just moved to town.
They were a wild bunch.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. But I was living in this, it was a little tiny house, but it had just enough space that we could use it as a rehearsal area. It was the whole reason I moved into the thing.
Yeah, it had a pretty big living room.
Mm-hmm. And all of the time, day, night, it didn't fucking matter. There was something in that house that was fascinated with the drum set.
Oh god.
Yeah, it was weird, dude. And it would all the time, because usually on a drum set there's crash cymbals and splash cymbals and your hi-hats and your rides. It all the time would sit there and ting on the ride cymbal. And it was a trip, and you could tell it to stop in the middle, because it would really get going in the middle of the night.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, I'd be laying in bed give it a rest until daylight. I'm sleeping.
It
would stop.
Wow.
Weird.
Yeah,
roll over 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was, and what it sounded like. It sounded like a kid trying to figure out how to use a drum set.
Just tapping.
It's like, man, this thing is cool. What the fuck's this do? What's this sound like? What's this over here sound like? And you could tell it to stop, and then you could hear the sticks sit back on the snare drum.
Wow.
I don't know if you've ever heard that sound.
Oh,
but
yeah.
it's a,
No,
it's
I
a,
know what
yeah,
you're talking
it's a
about.
really distinct sound.
You
You
can
hear
hear
it
them click together, and then
whatever.
Because Hardin's cursed. Because all the races.
Yeah, and it yeah, it was almost nonstop.
wow.
That drum set was always making noise almost the entire time I lived there, unless I told it to stop.
Wow.
Where did you get the drum set?
That
one was
a kid we went to high school with. I know his name. I'll tell you later if you want. I'm not going to put him on blast here.
You think it was the place, or you think it was? The
it was
drum
definitely
set?
the place.
Oh no, yeah, that place is fucking weird.
Yeah, it was a weird place, but it wasn't ever scary.
It was fucking scary.
All right.
That was scary.
Just trying to sound manly right now.
I mean, maybe my cheese slid off my cracker a little bit. But when I lived in there, whatever energy or entity was in there, it was never threatening or scary. It always seemed playful and curious.
Oh, okay.
Was the vibe I got.
Yeah.
Because it would try door handles and fucking.
Dude, it opened a door in front of freaking one of our buddies, dude. He freaked out.
Well, he fucking almost moved out of the place. After I moved out, one of our friends moved in, and the bedroom door periodically would
open
up. And
no, I'm talking about when Taylor got that shit on video.
Oh, I got it on video.
Was it you?
Yeah, I was.
Oh, okay.
I was laying in bed, because camera phones and stuff were just becoming kind of the norm.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was entertaining some female company or like female conversation.
Yeah.
For how old this is, I had the iPhone 1.
Yeah.
That was a while ago.
So I had the camera out and I was laying in bed and I noticed the door handle start to turn and I heard it latch. So instead of continuing what I was doing, I put the video camera on the door and you hear it click open and swing open on video. And I had that fucking video.
Do you still have that video?
I don't.
Oh,
man.
I wish
like
I still had it.
30
Dude.
phones ago.
And so I was like, dude, you motherfuckers got to fucking, like, you guys got to see this. And so I sent it to anybody who had a phone that fucking it would play. Yeah. And fucking good friend of ours at the time, Taylor, he was singing in the band I was in. Sent it to him, and like he fucking flat out refused to come to my house for a fucking while.
Wow.
Like we had to start going to Billings to practice and shit because fuck
Scaredy
you,
cat.
I ain't fucking doing that. First, he tried to tell me I was full of shit and that I had done it. I was like,
how?
Well, how? I was in
First
bed
of
on
all,
the other
you're
side of the
talking
room.
you're talking to Erin here.
Yeah. I was like, and yeah, that was just, it was a weird place to live, but it was, like I said, I mean, for me, in the experiences I had, it was, I mean,
Playful.
yeah, it was always kind of like playful
Funny.
and curious. It never
Like
was
it didn't
threatening.
like scare you. It was just kind of weird and creepy.
Right.
Yeah, like it would like turn the fucking TV on and off a couple times in a row and shit. Like, fucking get out of here, and it would stop, or like the drums would be going ting ting ting, boom boom boom, ting ting ting.
I don't
Like,
know what
fucking, I'm sleeping. Give it a rest,
That's weird.
and
man.
it would stop. It was
I don't know what the
fucking weird.
fuck Chuck did in there because, well, he was half scared to be in there.
By himself.
Yeah, he'd stay at my house all the time. But he was working graveyards at Bears. It's funny, he moved from doing graveyards at Town Pump to working at Bears doing graveyards, which is a truck stop in town. And I was over there and he was like, hey man, can you go get something out of my house for me and bring it to me? And I was like, all right. And I fucking went over there and fucking as soon as I got to the doorstep, the fucking TV turned on blue screen. And fucking this wave of fear came over me, and I couldn't bring myself to open the door. So I sent Jessica in there to get it. I was like, I ain't going in there. I was like, Jess, go in there.
Send a woman in.
I was like, go grab that shit. She's like, what? I was like, yeah, just go get it.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
have her.
But yeah, it was
live.
as soon as I stepped onto like the concrete pad to like enter the house and I touched the door, the fucking TV turned on.
Wow.
Wow.
I was like, oh no. And then like
Oh no.
normally
that's
that
so weird.
normally that wouldn't bother me, but like it was just like I got hit with fear. Remember when we were at the
That like
cemetery?
feeling of that dread.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was gonna bring that out a little bit later, but did you guys ever put that picture up?
Hey, we did.
Yeah, I think we did. Yeah.
Did you? I have to fucking like
Ugh,
make it public or something.
Yeah, we did. I think we made
yeah, I
it
think
public.
you did.
Was it? We'll have to fucking drag that fucker back out.
But it was that
yeah.
same feeling. Remember, like at first we were like, oh, and then it all of a sudden got fucked up,
Yeah,
and we had
it
to like
got
go.
really, really ugly.
Yeah,
ugly feeling.
that was
man.
that same feeling when I touched that doorknob and that TV turned on. And then so I sent my fucking girlfriend in there to get the shit.
You're like, babe, just go in there. It's fine.
At the time, she's just a fucking like 5 foot, like 4,
You'll be
90
fine,
pound
dude.
redhead.
That's me.
Yeah, it doesn't like me. You'll be fine.
No, it didn't.
Well, there was so that property. There was on a single lot. There was a main house, and then there was a smaller house in the back. And that smaller house in the back was the one that I lived in. And the front house had been broken up into
3 apartments.
And he lived on the upstairs
floor.
apartment.
I lived in the bottom at one time too.
But we, after I moved out of that house, I moved into the apartment with him. And we would just be hanging out, watching movies or whatever.
Yeah.
Because we were broke. So it was like.
We had so many DVDs. When me and him like moved into separate houses, it was like a divorce. We had to split the movies down the middle. It was bad.
We would go out to Blackie's in
$5
buy movies.
DVDs.
Right,
yeah,
I
we'd
see
go
that
out
too.
on And so we had racks and racks of DVDs, but we would just be sitting there hanging out and stuff. And like the back door would open.
Oh, to the mudroom, yeah.
Yeah, to the. It was like you'd hear somebody come up the stairs. We would all look to see who was there because it was. There was a lot of people coming and going all the time. We used to have big parties and do crazy shit, and I think that.
And I was a stoner, so all the stoners were there.
But I think kind of that environment and the craziness and the excitement all the time.
I believe.
Right.
Well, yeah, I think it like encouraged the behavior and made it flare and stuff, just because it was wild and drama and craziness all of the time.
Wow.
All of the fucking time in that place. But yeah, there'd be 3, 4, 5, 10 of us in the fucking living room. We'd hear somebody coming up the back stairs. So like
we'd all turn to see who's it.
Oh, who's this now?
And my door was never locked, so everybody just came in and out of that house all the time. I never locked the door.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, you'd hear somebody come up the stairs. That fucking door would open and then close. You'd hear 1 or 2 more steps, like coming into the place, but there was never anybody there.
Man, that's creepy.
Wow.
There was one time when I was living up there because we eventually ended up living in that apartment. I don't even remember what the hell it was I was doing. I think I had just got up and was going to take a piss or something. Mm-hmm. And just off of the living room, there's a bedroom door, and then the bathroom. And my room was here. Wheezy's room was right here. And I was... whatever the hell it was I was doing, I look over at Wheezy's door, and it clicks open. You can hear the door handle turn and click, and it just opens up. And like he had like tinfoil window shades or some shit. It was just
they were just blackout curtains that were stapled shut.
Yeah, it was solid black in this fucking thing. So there's this fucking door opens by itself in the
pitch blackness.
Yeah, into pitch blackness. And him and his girlfriend are in there sleeping, but as the door's opening, I'm expecting one of them to come out, you know what I mean? Somebody to turn up. And I stood there for a second and was like, yeah, fuck it. And just closed the door and went about my business.
That door was hard to open and shut. It was one of those old doors with like the key lock.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
And you had to slam that shit to open it.
Well,
and then you had to force through like old paint to open it.
Right. Yeah, because it was an old house.
Pop and you pull it.
Yeah, it was an old house, and the house had settled,
there,
and shifted the door jam, so that fucking door would jam shut. It would stay closed without a latch on it. So I mean, it wasn't.
So it needed a lot of pressure to actually get that door open.
Right. That was.
So it couldn't have just slipped open.
Mm-hmm.
No, there's no fucking way it slipped open.
we weren't renting the fresh hotness. It was just kind of.
Except for we all have a soft spot for that house. Like I would buy that house today.
But
just to make it like a fucking studio or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that house, both of those houses were a fucking trip.
Dang.
To live there. It was fucking crazy.
Pretty gross.
Our order fucking bled into each other. Whose turn is it?
Right. Well, I guess.
Whose story is this one?
There was one time we were in that house, and it was. I swear you were on the couch with us. I had this big L couch.
The Soul Eater.
Dude, the Soul Eater. It wrapped all, like it went this way and then went this way in the center where they met. Right. There was a heater vent underneath there. So people would like be like partied out and fucking just die on that fucking corner.
Too, not only that fucking L couch, dude, it got everybody at one point. Not only was it the heater vent under that corner of the couch, that corner of the couch was fucking blown out.
Yeah, so you sank in
that
bitch.
So you like, yeah.
I see, yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Just take you away.
Yeah.
Dude, I had a friend that worked on the oil rigs, and he'd be gone. He'd come over there and sleep for like a whole day and a half, 2 days on that little corner.
In that corner, yeah.
And then just randomly wake up, start making breakfast or something, you know what I mean? But yeah, we were all sitting there.
Burritos.
At this time, Erin hadn't lived there yet. I had my other homie, Jake, living there. And he was in Erin's old room. And I just kept the same room the whole time I lived there.
Just filed friends through that room.
Which is funny.
Revolving door.
There's a lady that had passed away.
For some reason, that sounded real dirty when he said that about his filing friends through there.
Right. There's dude, I had so many friends move in and out of that house. But before the people, I knew personally the people that lived there before me. Like I moved in with them and slept on their couch, and then they moved out, and I started staying in the house up top because I lived in the bottom apartment, and there was so much black mold down there I couldn't breathe.
Wow.
So I started staying on their couch and paying rent for that bottom apartment. And then one of the brothers moved out, so I took his room and just stayed in that room. And then as time went, more and more people came in and out of that room. But before they moved there, I helped them move and clean it out. And the lady that lived there before had passed away in my room.
Oh, wow.
Like we cleaned her stuff out of that room when she died for the deposit so they could live there.
Right.
Because the landlord did not want to touch any of that shit. So I have to think it was her. And she was kind of a grandma, you know, everybody's mom type person. So I think she was cool. Jessica swears that a demon tried to like choke her out in that house, but I'm like, nah. Because I think you're overreacting. I was like, it's probably because you're a dick.
No, she's too nice.
Girl, don't play no shit.
Guess you should treat me better.
Right? Should be such a mean person. Fuck.
That was a nice edit.
I know. Mean person.
Shouldn't be such a mean person.
But one of the times,
full of shit.
Nice save.
one of the times, it was me, Jake, and I swear Erin was there too, sitting on that L couch, and we're just chilling out. And I think we were like smoking a joint or something and watching a movie, maybe drinking a couple beers. And there's a fucking shadow. It looked like a solid person walked from my room to Erin's room or Jake's room. And both me and Jake turn and look at the same time. We both seen it.
Ugh.
And we're like, what the fuck? Is there somebody here? You know what I mean? So
Which wouldn't have been that far off.
Dude, random people would go pass out in my bed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so we got up. We thought somebody was actually there, walked over to where those rooms are, and both the doors were shut. And we didn't hear a door open and shut. We just seen a shadow walk past.
No, dude, I had that happen to me too, so I know how that feels.
And
man.
like at first, like I was like, then me and Jake looked at each other and he's like, "You fucking seen that too?" I was like, "Fuck yeah, dude." I was like, "What the hell?" And then that's when we went and inspected it. And it was just kind of weird.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. How old was this place?
It was probably. It used to be a sporting goods store. That place in the back.
I think, if I remember right, the place was built in the 40s.
Oh,
Yeah, that sounds about right.
yeah.
Wow.
There's all sorts of stories. There's a story that somebody hung themselves in the basement, and you know how those houses are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, a bunch of people. Back when Lena lived there, before that other old lady died, apparently somebody died in that house, and Lydell was so scared to sleep in that front room. Dude, we've had so many friends live in that house. It's just been part of our fucking lives.
Just keep hearing a new name every 2 seconds.
The place was kind of run down. It was fucking cheap rent.
It was $500 a month, all utilities paid for a 2-bedroom house with washer and dryer, a full kitchen, and a full living room.
Wow.
Dang, that's a freaking steal.
Yeah.
And
and the landlord, the landlord who had it at the time, you could do stuff for him like clean out dead lady's fucking bedroom, and he'd let you move in without a deposit and shit.
Wow.
Right. And if you fix something in the house, he took it off your rent.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good. Pretty good.
So he's pretty cool.
Yeah. And so fucking, he's working graveyards at Town Pump. I'm fucking working dinner shift at the fucking pizza place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And fucking, it was perfect for what we were able to do.
We
at
live
the
in a
time.
place where, I mean, if there's a house in town that's well known, I mean, everybody
Has
has
been
a
in
story.
there.
Yeah.
Like me and you guys lived in the same house at one time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it's
Not at the same time, but same house.
yeah, same house.
at one time.
And that's how the town is, though. It's like everyone knows about that place, and everyone. It's kind of like those scary movies where that house is haunted.
Yeah,
everybody knows about
Yeah.
it. And
But
has a
that's
story.
how most of the houses in Hardin are. And
Because they're all
if you look
ancient,
at Bighorn
man.
County Crime Watch, fucking Hardin's cursed because of the racist people. Sure, I believe you.
All right.
Why not?
That'll make the paper.
While we're talking, what do you guys think ghosts are?
Right.
Yeah, what are ghosts?
So I mean,
What do you think ghosts are?
I think they're demons.
Why?
And there's Well, it goes back to biblical text as well as Roman text and
The ancient Sumerians was
Right.
no, I'm just kidding.
ancient Greece text.
Let me fix my hair.
And
Let me fix my hair. Fucking aliens.
I think we've talked about this quite a bit in the podcast, but basically, how demonology starts, anyways, is it's in Genesis. So that was like one of the first books ever written for biblical text, anyways, in Catholicism. And so I'll just start from the beginning. In the beginning, there was heaven and earth, and the earth was without void, and it's verse 2. And they all these scholars talk about this, is why would God create something that's not perfect? Because through the whole rest of the text, it's perfect.
Right.
Like the creation is all perfect, and man's made in his image, so it's perfect. So they look back on those texts and say, okay, so why if he creates heaven and earth, so heaven's perfect, and then earth now is without void.
Right.
And later on in scripture, in Genesis, they talk about Satan falling from heaven, and John cites that later on in scripture and his verses, and then in Psalms. And they think that they're seeing basically a vision of when Satan fell. And this is I guess it would be pre Adam and Eve, because even Adam and Eve said that there's cities here. There's cities, but they're vacant. And when you look at their story, it's kind of funny too, because I mean, in the Garden of Eden, trees were suspended. They're not planted in the ground. They're like suspended in the air, and they're actually hanging there. And they're always looking back at these scriptures saying, okay, so Satan had to have fallen with his angels in verse 1 and verse 2. And later on in Genesis, it talks about God flipping the earth upside down and all its inhabitants. And this was before the Garden of Eden. So before...
Now, that part was really important with all its inhabitants.
So God flipped these people off a flat earth, and they fell into the nothingness?
They were described as satyrs. So satyrs are half man, half
goat.
Yeah, half goat. And in that time, so there was already inhabitants there, because the Bible talks about descriptively between Satan ruling over earth's the inhabitants of earth, and later on in scripture, like these were his people he'd rule over.
Right.
And he was the only angel in heaven to have two positions. So he was an archangel and he was a worship angel, which I think is a seraphim or cherub.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he was the only angel given the power to walk in front of God's throne.
Fun fact, Erin has a motorcycle named Seraphim.
That's pretty
Sarah.
cool.
Yeah.
And
Like you could, well, hold on, time out. They wore red armor.
Oh, okay.
The bike's red.
Oh, cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was looking at that.
Yeah.
So, when I just walked out, I was like, man, that's a sick bike.
Yeah, so name of the bike is Sarah, Sera.
Not that bike.
Okay. Oh, not that one?
His
That's
Fat
a different
Boy.
one? Oh, okay.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
This one's Lucy.
Okay.
Because she's loosey-goosey.
So it talks about him ruling over these people. So Satan falls with his angels, and the angels aren't demonic. They're they're demonic, but they're not demons. And people always think that, okay, so demons are fallen angels, and it's a misconception.
Right.
And the demons on Earth today are cited as being the ones that were pre-human race and pre-Adam and Eve.
Right. I've heard this before.
Right.
Yeah.
Who they've already been here.
I've never heard that
And
shit
now-
before in my life. I have heard of...
I have heard of satyrs being the real demons.
Right. Yeah.
So
I've heard of elementals.
And
Right.
that's where we get the goat devil from.
Right. Yeah.
So
From satyrs.
when is it? Is there any place in that script or in that text that say when they became disembodied?
It was when so now there was a scripture of Jesus casting out. This is like later on in scripture.
Yeah.
This is like way after Adam and Eve. And he's casting out a legion of angels from
It was legion.
right,
Yeah.
from a woman. And the demons are saying, okay, so cast us into those pigs, and we'll take those pigs, meaning they're disembodied and they can take on anybody's
Because
form.
they even hated hell so much they did not want to go there,
Right.
which is why they wanted to take the swine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when the scripture says that he flipped over the earth and all its inhabitants, it means that they're now in hell and what they call a Sheol in the Bible. And now humans, this is how they cite it, as humans whether it's their desires, they pull them out of the pits of hell into on earth. And that's basically how demons work.
Yeah.
Right.
But some of those demons, they're always talked about in the Bible as being satyrs and dancing on the ruins of Babylon, and that's usually where they're cited. And I think in Roman culture, they're the god of wine and sex.
Yes.
Yeah, and they reference that as well as being the god of wine and sex, and they're
we kind of brought that up when we were talking about like deer woman and deer man and stuff, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Right.
Dude, so now every time I think of demons, I think of Danny DeVito.
Damn it.
They're always
Did he beat you to it? Or what?
no. They're always disembodied, and the Bible talks about the fallen angels can't manifest. They can't. Actually, I think they can manifest, but the.
It
was so quiet.
Damn it! You got to turn it up.
But the archangels, the only angel to ever inhabit a body is Satan himself. His archangels can't do that, but these disembodied spirits, being demons, can inhabit humans and dogs and cats and things like that.
So he uses them instead.
Kind of like a host.
That's kind of crazy. That's
Right.
I think that's the first time I've heard that.
So I think that's what that's.
I don't remember where I heard that before. I've heard that before.
I feel like that's kind of how they bait some people. Is like I believe that's what, like in the Bible, they're called familiar spirits. Like it's this certain spirit or demon that would kind of follow you and basically learn everything about you, everything about your life.
Personality.
And if something happens, then they try to use that to bait you to bring themselves into your home and stuff like that, or
like
in your life.
like a moment of weakness.
Yeah,
or something.
moment
I mean,
of
because when
weakness
we talk about dying or in the afterlife, I mean, I automatically jump to the scripture, Roman text, and because they're always so descriptive about it.
Yeah,
like this is what happens when you die, and nobody actually knows. I mean, when you talk about experiences, there's so many different,
there's
so many different experiences.
crazy experiences.
I wish
that kind of
I can remember it.
Defer from those.
We'll have to
texts.
look it up. Maybe even do a fucking episode on it. But I think in Germany, they did an experiment of like terminally ill people, and they were taking them to the point where they would die, and then would bring them back, and it was something. I don't know how many people did it, but according to their study or whatever, like I don't know, I have to get on the Googles and look it up or something and find out more about it. Yeah, on the Google. But everybody that they did this to had the same experience.
Wow.
And through their research or whatever, they determined that those scientists that were involved with that believe there is an afterlife.
Wow.
That's interesting.
But,
dude, I don't know what to believe because like I've had like personal ghost experiences, but then I'm like really on that level about like your brain releasing DMT and you just trip it out,
Right.
and thinking it's the afterlife and just being nothing.
Yeah, could be.
Right.
Because
Could
on
be,
DMT, right, you can live your whole life in like just a few minutes.
Right.
But I've seen fucking fucked up shit. So like
so much fucked up shit.
There's like so many like ministers, even these big ones, like I'll even name drop one like man, his name's gone now.
Joel Osteen.
There he is, Joel Osteen.
Right.
Even like people like him, it's like not even
They're clout
really
chasers.
preaching anymore. It's like they're just motivational speakers. A lot of them are.
Right.
Like him. Like I was like watching him and I was like, all right, like something kind of rubbed me the wrong way about him.
Right.
And so I'd always kind of stayed away from that.
And then when we're researching demonology, we always
Yeah.
have to have our ear to the ground,
Yeah.
even speakers like that, because you have
so
to.
and then finally I was like, all right, let me give this guy a listen and see what he's about. And I was like, this just sounds like some kind of motivational speaker. He wasn't really preaching on what he should have been preaching on, I guess.
Well, people want to be uplifted.
Yeah,
Right.
well, that's
You
what
know
I
what I
mean.
mean?
Like, they got to know everything if you're
Lift
going to preach
me
everything, you know.
up.
But what?
Before you go. That's a wrong lyric, but I don't give a shit. I went for it.
But what got me is when he got pressured by Oprah, he literally threw everything out the window. Like he was saying, like, you know, trying to say, like, you know, this is fact, Bible is fact, this is fact. And he was only preaching the positive things. But then once Oprah came to him and asked him a question, you know, because he kept saying that the Bible is fact. And when Oprah was talking to him, she asked him, is Jesus the only way to heaven? And he kept trying to dance around that, not answer it. She kept pushing him. She kept pressuring him. And finally, he was like, "Well, I don't know, you know." And
Dude, I have to think Oprah's Antichrist, though.
And then he kind of like, yeah, no, I was like, dude. But then after he said, I was like, all right, there it is. You know, that's what it was.
You just got to be tasteful with it. That's all. Just got to be tasteful.
But after that, I was like, all right, because okay, so that's where he kind of like threw everything he was preaching out the window and kind of like, because he was afraid to not give her the answer she wanted, because the book she was promoting was that there's so many different ways to heaven, you know, and not what the Bible was preaching. Right. And that's basically everything he threw out just for her, like right there, just so like, okay. And then she picked her book up, you know, and blah, blah,
was
blah.
that a video interview?
Yeah. You can watch it.
Look it up.
It sounds like Seder talk to me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's one of those things though. Like if you have an argument and you've talked about your argument, you got to keep your argument
true to your word. You're such an idiot, dude. trying to let it get me and trying to keep going.
Oh, fuck, dude. That's fucking awesome. I think over as the Antichrist. Okay. All right.
That's going to be the thumbnail. And it will not be for like a half hour into the podcast.
Fuck, dude.
Like, where's this Oprah stuff?
She's giving away too many cars to be the Antichrist.
You get a car. You get a car. Who can afford that? Saders can. Right?
All right.
They don't need cars.
We've gotten way off the rails here.
I mean, it's a good question. I mean, it
If she ever
lines up
sees
with
this,
the
she could,
podcast.
like,
So.
We went from do you believe in ghosts and demonology.
Well, it wasn't even
like, if she ever sees this, she'll fucking bury us.
She wants his pee.
the question wasn't even do you believe. I think the question more assumes that you believe, because I asked what do you think ghosts are.
Right.
Well, I know they're real. I mean, I know there's
Is it weird
something
that
out there
I
that
still
is real.
think all of the shit I've seen and all the things I've experienced, I still feel like a skeptic.
I know that's what I
Right.
mean. It's like you don't want to believe it sometimes. Like there's something you don't want to believe, like that really happened.
Well, I think there's a part too that now, like,
I think that's what
we're all
kinda saying
dads
there.
and like grown adults that we have to be the guy to like try to convince your kid that they aren't
There-
real.
yeah, there's
So you
not a
almost-
monster under your bed.
Right.
There was a moment, and now they're probably going to watch this, but they wanted to go in the school at St. X. You know,
Fucking
They're
disgusting
talking about
there.
that. They're like, well, you got your, like, you know, you do this kind of stuff or you do that kind of stuff, and
Dude, Johnny
have you ever
Miller
go-
wants to go there fucking right now. You know what I
he
mean?
Always want. There's places he's been asking me. We even talked about it with
Dude,
him.
we talked about it at the bar. It was fucked up.
Yeah.
Who?
Johnny Miller.
There's some places in St. X that are wild.
Wild. But we were driving by there, and she asked me, "Have you ever been in there?" And I said, "Well, yeah." And I said, "Actually, your uncle caught something in there, and he got a picture of that kid inside the school." And she was like, "You know, I want to go in there." I was like, "You don't want to go in there."
You
She's
don't
like,
wanna
"Oh
go
yeah,
there."
you know, Lily want to do." And she was like, "Yeah, I want to go in there." I was like, "No, you won't." I was like, "Trust me, you do not want to do stuff like that."
Dude, the fucked up thing
And
is
I
you
was-
can't run out of that school
Yeah.
because the fucking gym is tore up. You
Yeah.
can't run out of there. You got to carefully walk out.
Yeah, so I was like, all right, fine.
So
I was
you
like,
become
I told her,
part of the school.
I said,
You
"You're
fucking
not
run too quick."
I said, "We're
Right.
not going to the second floor." I said, "We'll stay on the main floor, but you can just walk in and look. And that's all you're gonna do." So we pulled up, and dude, like right off the bat, and we kind of started walking up. Sarah was like, "Something's gonna happen." She's like, something always happens with you, you know. Every time you step into a certain place, whatever it is doesn't like you,
Seder.
and it'll, you know, it reacts, you know. So she's seen it a lot.
It's got to be a Seder. It's either Seder or Oprah.
Same thing. Same thing.
You gotta pan that.
Same thing.
But we walk in the front door, and we start walking up, and then right away I heard a voice, and I kind of glanced back at Sarah, and she heard it right off the bat. And I kind of turned and looked toward the direction that it came from, and then we just allowed the freaking loud wham on the wall. The wall just boom, it like literally like shook. And I turned around, the girls were already out of the freaking out of the building, man. They were already gone.
Dude, me and my buddy Justin used to go to that second floor in the middle of the fucking night without a flashlight because he was scared that they would call the cops.
Oh my god.
And it was so fucking disgusting in there.
Disgusting.
We had only used a flashlight to like see through the like gym part.
Right.
And then we just go up to the second floor, and it was fucking gross, dude.
Oh man, I just literally popped my knee out of place before or that day. It literally went backwards and then back. I popped it back into place. My leg was literally forward like this, and I went back into place. And so I wasn't really walking all that well. Lucky I'm limber, but you know, like
obviously real limber. His knees giving out.
So
fucking
limber.
fresh, this guy.
Dude, killer yoga.
No, like
nimble.
right about nothing broke. Nothing broke. It just like dislocated and popped back.
They only got to break a bone shooting a scene. Like, nimble,
right,
this guy.
That was
like
a mound of ice I landed on. You can literally hear me. All right,
I'm gonna name my next cat Marcus.
Limber Marcus.
That's fucking funny. I think.
Oh, but anyway, the point I was getting at was
So have you ever seen Oprah's feet?
Not once.
Cloven hooves.
Is telling him that
like
there was
Nicky.
nothing. That's what I was getting at. Was I told him I was probably door slamming, but I walked that way, no doors anywhere. Yeah.
So I just told him everything's been ripped apart in there.
I told him that. Sarah looked at me. She's like, "Was it a door?" I said, "Fuck no,
no door." I think so. I don't know how I want to fucking word this without sounding like a fucking maniac.
Believe me,
Energy
they already think you're a maniac.
Yeah, probably. So your brain runs on energy, right?
Yeah,
like real low voltage, fucking electricity and shit, and all the brain synapses and that kind of thing. I think ghosts are that energy.
Interesting.
Because then there's kinetic energy and fucking static energy and
so
all
what do
this.
you think it's like? Basically manifesting off your energy.
Yeah,
is that what you think?
Like poltergeist events and shit. They say temperature drops, something fucking freaky happens.
Yeah.
Okay. So that entity is drawing the energy out of the room.
Okay.
Any like thermal energy or the fucking whatever to kind of help build to be able to
do shit,
perform or move or make a sound or communicate or whatever. Or people will walk in like doing something and they get fucking tired or nauseous or fucking all these
draining you. There you go. Okay.
Right. I think it's a really like low form. I'm a low form of energy isn't how I want to put that. It's a form of energy that still like retains some of its consciousness, and is actively able to draw energy into itself to be able to react or perform or interact, communicate, whatever.
Right.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. So you think it's an actual being that does it, or you?
I think so. I think it is.
Like when you're saying, like your energy, like in your mind is like
because
kind of think.
Because when you pass away, where that last bit of energy, where does it go?
Okay, so that's what you're. Okay, that's what you're
right.
getting at. Right.
I've heard. I've heard into looked into that.
I almost thought you meant like for a second. I think you're going toward like thought conjuring, like where you think something so much and then it happens.
No.
That's what I thought you were getting at.
No. Like you hear, like they're stuck. Like it's like a repeat. You know what I mean? So it's like that one part of the brain that was able to stay there. That one piece of energy that was able to stay.
Okay.
Do you ever notice in like science fiction movies, like the next evolution of man is us forming into pure energy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Like, what if that's how ghosts are? Is the next evolution is us passing away and ascending into a energy type consciousness?
Right.
So basically, what you're saying, like your theory
a
is almost what Thomas Edison was saying. Like, well, he called them life units, and that's what he said was just your energy kind of like splitting off and going out, and
like
it doesn't leave, it doesn't die, it stays here. That's what he kind of said, and it just kind of spreads out into everything else.
Yeah, and it sometimes is able to stay together and able to help build, like recharging a battery or rubbing your feet on the fucking ground and fucking zapping your buddy. You know what I mean? And that's real shit you can see, and your brain runs on fucking electricity.
Interesting.
See, I kind of for him. There's another theory too that everybody's probably heard about, like the ghosts and stuff that happened is just like almost like time travel. It's like a different dimensioning.
I've heard
trying
that
to like the fourth dimension or whatever, peeking
Right.
through at the same time, and it causes shit to happen.
I've heard that.
So like a clash of timelines.
I mean, we've
Pretty
mentioned
much.
this. We've mentioned this before, though. But you had that study. I think it was one of you guys where where the Indian dude was throwing a tomahawk into a
Oh yeah, I had that
this guy
story.
told that story.
Right.
Dude, my
just talking
teacher read that to me out of a book of scary stories when I was in like 4th grade.
Was it the Montana one? Wasn't
it was the Montana True Scary
I
Stories.
have that book. I have that book. I just have to find it.
Yeah, and like his ancestor had this story about this monster with 2 bright eyes coming at him, and he threw the tomahawk, and then his relative way in the future was driving through and had a Native American on a horse, old school, throw a tomahawk at his truck.
Wow.
And it was like they were related too. 2 separate things happened at the same time.
2
somehow.
timelines colliding. Yeah, we were literally just talking to Al Cooley about this, and he brought that up. Like he brought that up because I had an incident where we saw this burning teepee, and when we went back to check it, literally moments later, the ground was untouched. The grass was still fine, and where that teepee was standing in burning, it was at the fairgrounds in where Crow Fair takes place. And this teepee was burning, literally on fire. And when we went back to go check it out later that night, there was nothing there. The ground was untouched. The grass was still fine. So that's kind of like odd.
You just reminded me of a story.
Okay,
story time. Hot dog.
Right.
Was it my turn? Was it my turn?
Yeah, it was your
It was my
turn.
turn. Okay.
Yeah.
So this one, fuck. How many? That's
Right, we got way the fuck off track.
yeah.
That
We
happens.
fucking derailed.
Off
But
of one
that's
question,
all right.
one damn question.
There it went.
That's how fast it goes.
So some of our relatives has some land on the battlefield.
Okay.
And we spent a couple years, we were going out there pretty regular because they were letting us keep a horse out there. We put up fence and all this other kind of shit.
Oh,
and we would just go. So we would just go to the gate and tell the park rangers. And this is the Little Bighorn Battlefield in Crow Agency, Montana, for people out in internet land. But we'd go to the gate, tell the park rangers we're going to horse pasture, and they just let us through. And we'd drive through the park and go back there a little ways, and then hook a right, and we'd drive down, and then we'd have to cross the river on foot because we couldn't get the pickup across.
Okay.
We used to, and we would pull over on the asphalt, and the pickup we had was kind of older. You had to get out and lock in the wheel hubs.
Okay, yeah.
So we pull over and we're dicking around, and this old boy pulls up on his Harley. Great big dude, great big beard, salt and pepper, older cat. He's riding across the country, and I keep saying, because I haven't even thought about this story in a long time, and I'm trying to remember it as best I can. There was me, my sister Hannah, and my brother Travis, and my dad were the ones that were going out there that day.
Mm.
So this guy pulls over, and my dad, he's a bit of a jump to conclusions kind of individual. So big biker dude pulls up, gets off his bike. Old boy pulls his 30-30 out of the pickup and is like, "What's up? What's on your mind?" And this great big biker guy was like, "Whoa!" He says, he says, "Man, I'm not a threat." He says, I just had some questions for you." He says, "I just wanted to talk to some locals and get away from these fucking park rangers up here." He says, I just wanted to know if you got any stories, man." And my dad, he's a big history buff, so he had some stories. And my dad, he was like, "Oh." He puts his fucking gun away, and everybody kind of settles down real quick.
Oh, dude,
Yeah,
you
he's
messed up.
Oh, yeah,
shoot.
dude.
That camera died.
That's
mine.
Pause. Pause.
Pause again?
Pause again.
We got 2 cameras. I'll just keep talking.
You're gonna have his ass in the shot.
That's fine. He's not in this one. I don't think
It's
he's
gonna be.
Oh, there's a little booty on that one.
bit.
There's some booty on that one. You can just cut over there for that one.
Yeah. So good.
So my dad, he just starts telling him stories and lore and stuff about things that my dad's heard since he's lived here, that he's heard from locals and stuff. And while we're sitting there, you know what an Indian flute sounds like.
Yeah.
Real distinctive.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Here's some notes over here. And then
What time is it?
a few seconds would go by, 1:15 midnight.
Oh, no, I meant on the camera. I thought I heard something for a second.
Oh.
All right, go, keep going.
But yeah, so we'd hear a few notes over here. A few seconds later. A few seconds later, there's even more notes. Over here. And then over here. And over here. Then over here. Then over here. Then over here. Then over here. And then pretty soon, it's fucking swirling around us. And, like, we just thought it was cool. You know what I mean? It was like, fuck me, are you hearing this? Like, this is awesome. You know what I mean? And this great big biker dude, like, when he pulled up, he was sunburned and red. He was riding a Harley.
Yeah.
Older guy. And he turns white. And he stops my dad. And he says, I got to stop you. I can't be the only one hearing this. And we look over at him. My dad says, yeah, we hear it. He says, but around here, this kind of thing isn't uncommon. And the guy, I got to go. He says, I appreciate your time, but I got to go. And he got on his bike, hooked a Yui, and left. He was out of there.
It creeped him out so
Oh,
bad.
yeah. It was crazy. And as soon as that dude, because like me and my brother, I asked him, I was like, you hear that, right? And he was like, yeah, dude. And he says, that's badass. I looked at my sister, and she was like, that's fucking woo. And, but as soon as old boy acknowledged it, stopped.
Wow.
That's weird, man.
Yeah.
That's weird. Not like even the fact that it was like in multiple directions at once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like I said, it started over here and then be over here. Right? A few seconds go by, it'd be over here. Stop and go over here. And then by the time old boy drew attention to it, it was like 2 or 3 flutes were going, and they were all running in circles around us.
So what do you think that was?
I have no idea, but it was a trip.
Wow.
That was that dude from Reservation Dogs, the nice guy.
William Knifeback.
William Knifeback. He fought the Battle of Little Bighorn. That's probably where his horse fell over.
Fucking gopher hole. All right, I didn't even get to fight. Oh my god.
It was probably a true story.
Probably a true story.
That is weird, man. That
yeah,
is
it was crazy.
That's pretty cool.
And another instance, while we were out there, it wasn't that same visit. We didn't see anything, but it was like right at dusk, and we had a fire going, and we were just gonna camp out there for the night, throw some tents down, and fucking. We're cooking dinner on the fire, and everybody's hanging out and starting to get cold, so we're not swimming or anything anymore. We're just kind of fucking hanging out. We start hearing shots. And old boy thinks we're being shot at. So he goes to the pickup, yelling at us to get down. And so he goes to the pickup and gets his fucking 30-30 lever action.
Yeah.
And he's like taking cover, looking for
who's ever shooting.
Looking for and it's coming from the direction of the battlefield.
And that is not uncommon.
Yeah.
No, I've heard that from a lot of people.
And it went on for, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes. And the longer it went, the more shots there were, like the more reports from different weapons you could hear.
Yeah.
And just before it ended, we started hearing war cries.
Now that's what gets me right there.
Yeah.
For some reason that.
And like after, I don't know, half dozen or so war cries, it fucking stopped. Nothing else again, just like the flutes.
If anybody's ever, like, anybody that's listening to this has ever heard what a war cry sounds like, it's
really distinctive.
If it's not supposed to be there, it is
fucking terrifying.
Yeah. It is terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is one thing that would probably scare the ever living shit out of me if I heard it in the middle of the night. And Al, that actually happened to him that same night that me and my friend saw that burning teepee. Al and a friend were literally getting chased by someone, and he was whooping and hollering at him while he was drawing his bow.
Give him a war cry, Marcus.
I'm not doing it.
Do it.
No, I ain't doing it.
My voice can't even go that high. And it'd be racist because I'm white.
But no, like I even have an uncle that was working up there, and he convinced his brother to stay with him. He's like, oh yeah, there's this food vendor there, and he said he'll let us have all the food we want and stuff. We just got to stay up here and watch the battlefield, and he had his tent out and everything. And when the time came, he got in his tent, got everything all ready, kind of bundled himself up. And then after he zipped it up, my other uncle said that he just rolled back and closed his eyes as tight as he could, and he wouldn't answer him. He was like, what the hell are you doing? He wouldn't answer him. He was laying there like he was waiting for something.
Like, this shit ain't real.
And then that's when he started hearing it.
War cry.
The war cries, the whooping, the hollering. And he's even heard the trumpets and everything.
The cavalry
the
trumpet,
cavalry. And he started hearing, horses running, and he started hearing the firing. He even said it sounded like the bullets whizzing by the tent. He said that's how close it sounded. It sounded like he can hear people dying. Literally like dying, killing over right next to the tent. Wow. And he said this went on for, I don't know how, he said it felt like an eternity. Mm-hmm. And he said every time he looked over, my other uncle was just laying there. He already knew, man. And that's why he didn't want to stay there by himself, because it happened to him the night before.
Wow.
So he was expecting
just fucking tormented him all night.
Dude, do you ever hear like rumors from people around town that you could hear cannon fire at Grant Marsh?
I've heard that.
once.
Yeah, I've heard
actually.
that from people.
Yeah, I've actually heard that before.
Like, I didn't even know there was a battle there.
That is
Was there a battle
funny.
there?
But I guess there was like a little battle somewhere over there, and you could hear cannon fire.
Wow.
Weird.
At night. Like, because you used to be able to camp there. And like now you can't camp at KP or Grant Marsh or any of those places now. But they said that when they camped there, you used to hear cannon fire sometimes.
I know someone that used to live there. I gotta ask him.
And I don't know, maybe it wasn't a battle. Maybe there was like a little camp there. They like test fired shit or something.
Well, remember Fort Custer was right up here on the bluffs.
Yep.
Right. I've heard fucked up stories up there too.
Me too, yeah.
Wow.
I don't know.
Dude, it was funny in high school, dude. Fucking we went up there and it was Colton Stieber with me and Jerry Kenny, and fucking we went up there in their dad's old Forerunner.
Straight name dropping everybody.
Yeah. You're all out there. I hope you listen to the podcast.
Sons of bitches.
But Jerry straight rolled the windows down up there. We used to say that there was like some fucking serial killer wino up there or some shit. Fucking rolled the windows down and like shut the vehicle off and like wouldn't roll them up and freaked him the fuck out.
Because remember, Oprah's the Antichrist.
She's a fucking satyr, bro.
And there's killer winos around here.
I mean, have you ever seen her feet?
I have
not once.
Not once.
Watch her do her next show fucking barefoot.
God. Catches wind of the podcast.
But yeah, it was fucking great. Going up there freaking people up.
It's funny.
That's
it's funny.
Oh, you're an idiot, Weezy.
I'm done.
Do you have any more stories with you?
Not for this time, but for next time.
Yeah.
Or else we'll get way off subject and yeah.
That was over a full hour now. So
I got
a
couple more, I think.
Let's
You want
do
to fire
it.
him off?
I'll fire them off. So, story time.
Do you guys notice every time you make a loud noise, it cuts the mics?
Yeah. Noise compressor. Yeah.
Okay.
Limiter. Noise limiter. So
Limiter.
we lived kind of at the foot of the Bighorns out here, Pass Creek. This was when I was like little, so I might not remember everything exactly right.
So this one time in Dunmore. No, I'm just kidding.
What number is he here?
I'm 3.
Number 2.
Number 2 comes yours.
Numero dos. Numero dos. But yeah, out at Pass Creek, we lived at the foot of the Bighorns there, and we were all over the place out there, all of the time. Like, it was probably a little more dangerous than we realized at the time, but we made friends with a family of coyotes out there.
Really?
Cool.
Yeah, like I was in kindergarten, But we used to go tear around the hills all over the fucking place and trees and the creek and up the side of the fucking. We were everywhere out there. We were a bunch of wild little Indians. But yeah, this like they would let us in their den and shit.
Wow.
Yeah. And when our parents found out about that, they put a stop to that shit real fast. But it was cool. But one, I don't know. We had built a little dam in the creek to build up the water so we have a swimming hole. Mm-hmm. And after a bad rain, it had washed out part of the bank. And exposed in the bank was a little area of like gravel rock and shit. And in that seam of gravel, we found a fossilized buffalo skull.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Yeah. And we're like, fucking Dad! Because the old boy, he's super into history, and he loves cool rocks and fossils and fucking petrified wood and this, that. If it's old, he's into it.
Right. He's a collector of many things.
Yeah. And so here's essentially, to a 5-year-old, a stone fucking buffalo skull. And we're like, oh, dude, Dad's gonna love this. I'm gonna be his favorite kid today. Like, so we go hauling ass. We take him this thing, and sure enough, he fucking thinks this thing is incredible. And he's so proud of it, he takes and mounts it on the side of the house. By the end of the day, that skull had bled down the side.
Oh my God!
And I, being just a little feller, I only got a glimpse at it, and all of us kids ran inside. And they ended up, they got a hold of some of all of our relatives are, really traditional. Some of my relatives are like medicine men and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And so they ended up getting a hold of that relative, and they came and removed it and prayed over the house and smudged the house and stuff, like all by the end of the day.
Wow. Back. Like that fast.
Yeah.
No longer the favorite that day.
The bastard.
Yeah. And like it wasn't like just a trickle. Like if somebody had removed a buffalo head and mounted that bitch on the wall without fucking bleeding it out, yeah, it had bled down the fucking wall.
Wow.
And this was like literally like petrified?
Yeah, it was stone.
Wow.
It was all but stone, yeah.
That is insane. Like to wrap your head around that one. Wow. That is honestly one of the coolest stories I've ever heard. Pretty cool. Yeah. Just trying to picture this thing.
Like, imagine being the guy driving that bitch back to where they found it.
Something that's been dried out for how long?
Oh, probably thousands of years.
Been there so long that it was literally petrified.
Right.
Yet after you mounted it, it just starts bleeding.
Yeah.
That is a fucking cool story, dude. That is insane.
And it again, and there's throughout the course of my life, and I'm the same as you guys. I mean, I've seen so many different things, like kind of on the level, you know what I mean? That like you start to fucking forget. And like I was 5 years old when this happened.
Yeah,
dude, I forget so many ghost stories.
Oh yeah,
and fucked up things.
But I mean, when you guys had reached out to me a few days ago and were like, "You want to tell some ghost stories?" I was like, "Fuck yeah, I want to tell some ghost stories." And but I didn't want to just rehash the ghost stories I did, last Halloween.
Right. Yeah.
So I was like, fuck, I gotta think of some other ones, some shit I seen. And I was kind of fucking I was talking to my dad about it. I was like, man, I need some fucking cool ghost stories. He says, tell him about the buffalo skull. And that shit just fucking I was like, oh shit, fucking buffalo skull, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, I got you, fam, you know what I mean?
Dude, there's all sorts of times where I fucking completely forget a story, then you bring it up, and I'm like,
Right.
oh fucking yeah. I was like,
oh yeah, dude.
It's crazy that like something that traumatic and that big, that impactful of a story, how it can just get pushed back. Like after all these other experiences, it's almost like it's weird because there's a lot of people out there that have never
seen a fucking thing.
Never had an experience.
Right.
Or I think like a lot of times they might just kind of block it out. Like if something happens, they just try to become so logical, like, oh, this, maybe it was this, maybe it was that.
Yeah, people do that with trauma. They'll check that shit out.
Right.
So
Yeah,
depending on
so much.
if like even as a little guy, I remember thinking, that is fucking awesome.
That is not supposed to happen.
Like,
Yeah.
one of the first movies I ever remember watching was Bram Stoker's Dracula. And I was like, oh, there's a booby in that one. Fucking, don't worry, Mom, I'm not looking.
Just feeding the geese the whole time.
And, it's like, it don't seem like Keanu wants that. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, my old man, tell him about the buffalo skull.
I mean, it happens. I mean, we've asked my mom to come on the podcast. Like, you have any ghost stories? Like, for sure, she should have had some ghost stories.
She has a lot of crazy stories. Like she was there when we were filming one of them recently, and it was once it stopped recording, she started going off on these stories. Actually, this thing was running, so I think there's some on there that she.
But I asked her. I said, "Do you have any?" She's like, "Maybe have one." And I was like, and then she told that story, and I was like, "No." I said, "There is one. I specifically remember being a kid." And we would get creeped out in this house we lived in. So we used to go
the closet.
Yeah, go and lay in her bed with her while my dad's at work.
And
Dolores.
Don't
Dolores,
say we.
And Dolores is there too. And
does she still do special effects makeup?
Yeah.
We
should use.
Yeah, she wants to jump on.
And she's in town now. So
yeah. I saw that. I was fucking with her because like a week after. They moved to town, she posted on Facebook, I wish I could move. I was like, didn't you just get here?
But there's a story. We jumped in her bed this one night. My dad's at work, and me and Dolores are woken up and we're freaking out because the closet was maybe like, it was like that close to her mom's bed.
Yeah, it was.
And
there's probably about a space about this wide, maybe 2 feet.
And we just seen that
closet.
We heard that closet banging, and we could see it was one of those ones it was a metal one actually, and it was one of those sliders.
Sliding, yeah.
And that thing was pushing out, and like going back and pushing out like really violently. And we're freaking out, and she's already awake, and she starts yelling at the closet. And she's saying, stop and leave, and she starts praying. And this went on for like a couple minutes. And then she starts praying, and then this thing stops. And then me and Dolores finally settled down and fall asleep. And then I asked her again when I was like maybe like 15, 16, say, do you remember that closet? Yeah. And she's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. I was like, are you kidding me?
She just said, fuck that closet.
It's like one of the most traumatic things to happen.
Right there, like maybe she just suppressed that,
Right. I don't even know. I don't know if Dolores even remembers that.
I think that's why like things like that don't really get me. Like, like I've had like experiences, and it like doesn't really totally scare me like when it really happens. And I think that's why just the way my mom always reacted to stuff like that, like basically like, get out of my house,
Right.
That's how she always was. She'd literally just yell at it and tell it to get out when something like that would happen, because there was a lot of times where that happened.
Right.
And so I think that's kind of why I'm like that, like when I was talking about when Sarah said that, when something happened, like she was kind of like, how it's gonna happen when you walk in those doors, something's gonna try to happen, and it does, and then I'm just like, kind of whatever about it,
Yeah.
But there is sometimes where it caught me off guard. I'm not gonna lie. Where it caught me off guard and scared the hell out of me.
We're about to see.
Oh, you messaged her.
What did you say? Do you remember the closet?
Have to get her on the call now.
Yeah, we're gonna call you, put you on speakerphone.
She'll call and be like, "No, I don't remember a thing."
Bye.
Don't ever message me again.
Right. Delete this number.
Yeah, fuck you
it's
and your music
Facebook,
video.
yo.
And if she does, I mean, she's got to come on and tell that story on her point of view. I mean, there was one she told that creeped me out, and it was growing up, they always seen me as a devil for some stupid reason.
I remember you telling
her and Gloria
us.
saw me too.
And there was one where I'm sitting at the edge of the bed, and Dolores wakes up because we used to sleep like feet to feet or head. I don't know how it goes, but anyways, my feet's to her head, and we'd sleep like that. And she said one night she woke up and she's
I wouldn't sleep next to your feet.
she's gonna use the bathroom, and she said, I'm already sitting up and on the edge of the bed. And then she said, I'm just have this smile on my face looking at her, and she's asking me some questions or something, and I wouldn't respond. I'm just smiling at her, and then she gets kind of creeped out, and then she gets off the bed, which is the top bunk, and then goes into Mom's room, and I'm laying in the bed.
Gross.
Yeah, that's gross.
Yeah,
Fucking pretty nasty.
Yeah, and her and Gloria saw me at that house that you used to live in too, the one on Cody.
Oh, that house is
Yeah,
weird.
they saw me like coming up from the literally that spot that goes downstairs, that
Yeah,
really
yeah,
dark
yeah.
spot.
The basement.
Yeah,
Right.
that set, like right where the attic is, those steps that go down and around.
Oh, fuck,
and there's
dude.
never any light in there.
No.
yeah.
Yeah, they saw me standing there, and she said the same thing. Like I had this pissed off, weird.
Dude, my room was
creepy-looking
right
face.
next door.
Yeah,
Right there.
And she said that they were like, what are you doing? And they said I literally just walked down the stairs to the basement. And when I walked down to the stairs of the basement,
Sound
they
effects.
said they turned around and went back to the living room, and the front door opens, and that's when I walk in.
Dude, did that room still have the window in there that you
Yep,
could see
that's
into the
blocked
add-on?
off there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Add-on, yeah.
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 Dude, I used to see shit in there, so I had to hang an American flag over that. so
Yeah,
I
we
wouldn't
always
feed
covered it
up
too.
Yeah.
It was creepy.
Actually, I
Fucking
think that
weird.
flag stayed there, didn't it? Did you just leave it there?
Yeah, I think I just
think
left
you
it there.
fucking left it there because I remember there being something hanging over
That's
it. already.
right. There was.
So your
I wonder-
flag was still there when I
Yeah,
was in
I'm
that
pretty
room.
sure I didn't have enough balls to take it off of that window.
Before you left the house.
Dude, that window was
See,
weird.
it's
like doppelganger.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. It's to me, I don't know. It's just a trip. Like me and him are able to kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Corroborate.
Yeah, each other's stories. Yeah,
Yeah.
we lived in the same house.
Yeah, like at the same time and witnessing shit, together.
Yeah.
And seeing stuff, and then him living in a house that was fucked up, and then you guys moving in afterwards and seeing
Yeah.
the same shit. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
it's like fuck.
Dude, my little brother used to sleepwalk to the basement. We were the type of kids. I lived there when I was we lived there when I was in middle school. And it was probably around like 2002 or something we moved there. And so I lived there around like the part of like intermediate school and then middle school. And Zach's 4 years younger than me. And we're like, our like playroom and fucking shit was downstairs in the basement. And we had like a TV and video games and shit down there.
Right.
But it had drawstrings, remember? All the lights all
Yeah.
the way
Yep.
down. And fucking, we used to run to press those drawstrings and get the fuck out of that basement. Well, Zach used to fucking sleepwalk and would just be down there in the dark.
Oh my god.
So
And
creepy. to
he'd
think
be
about.
playing in his sleep. And then mom be like, what the fuck are you doing down here? And he'd be like playing with grandma.
Oh wow.
All our grandmas were alive. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And like sometimes,
just gave
I
me
just
shit.
got
I mean-
chills, dude.
I've heard this story before, but that just got me, bro.
Oh, dude,
Goosebumps right now.
Fucking gross, dude.
that's nasty. But
Dude, like,
sometimes
literally
you get a
goosebumps,
feeling
man.
down there and you can smell perfume.
Oh, funny.
And that basement, smelled like mildew.
Right.
And like every once
yeah.
in a while, like you'd feel kind of creeped out. It smelled like mildew down there,
Right.
or not mildew, but perfume.
Yeah.
Dude,
I know,
like,
it's just kind of
like
weird.
the hairs on my neck stood up.
The
and-
first day we moved in, I found a old Blair Witch DVD tucked up by the
yeah.
boiler.
Nice.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah, I remember
Fuck
that.
yeah.
I was like, yeah, this house just introduced itself to me.
Did you ever see the remake of that movie?
Yeah, freaking.
The Bear Wench?
The Bear Witch Project.
Dude, I've totally seen that. Dude, I had a buddy that used to have this backpack full of porn.
That's so great.
Okay, I haven't seen that one.
The Bear Witch
yes.
Project. There's a Pirates of the Caribbean spoof too.
We're not getting into this.
Not going there. Back it up. Roll it back. Okay.
But yeah, and I didn't know about Zach sleepwalking down there the whole time I lived there. My mom had told me about that like later.
That's so
Wow.
ugly, dude.
And he used to talk in his sleep too, because I used to like go in there when he was sleeping and like fucking interrogate him pretty much.
Right.
And he'd like tell me about the shit he stole from me, and I'd find it. You know what I mean? Like that you motherfucker. Like hard not to hit him while he's sleeping. I was like, I fucking knew it. He's lying, motherfucker.
Wait till you wake up.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was funny. Like there was a couple times where I found my stuff and he was like panicked the next day, like he lost it. Like, oh shit.
I sleepwalk. I still sleepwalk.
I haven't.
This guy
I have
sleep
never.
eats.
Yeah. I've sleptwalked my whole
If
life.
I did sleepwalk, that'd probably be me. I'd probably be sleep eating.
I do. It's I get up, I go to the kitchen, and I pour me a glass of milk, and I make a peanut butter sandwich. and
very specific.
how we know that I've sleptwalk is the milk, the peanut butter, and the bread are all still out.
Wow.
In the morning.
Not only do you sleepwalk, but you're fucking inconsiderate too.
Yeah, just a fucking prick, dude.
Just wasted milk.
Just straight out of the jug. Just,
No, a glass and everything. Yeah.
well, at least he did
Wow.
that.
Mm-hmm.
So, there you go. Need a camera
Crazy.
here.
Yeah.
That was weird though. Fucking me, you just got goosebumps at the same time.
Dude, there was a story I wanted to hear you tell. I don't know if you want to tell it now, but you told me when I came over here, man, it was a while back, when you were laying in your bedroom.
Oh, fucking gross.
I
So,
had to remind you. I know you're going to think about that tonight.
okay,
but
so
I just had to let people hear this one.
all right, so this is two. I'll tell two stories here.
Okay.
And one of them, the second one, I really debated on whether or not to tell it. This is really, and I still might not.
Did you write the boo boo?
Yeah, big time. So I thought here in the last year, I thought I had experienced sleep paralysis or sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
That's what I thought it was at
Oh,
first.
fucking disgusting! I've heard this story.
Yeah.
Oh, dude. Just made the back of my neck stand up.
So, yeah, I thought at first I thought it was sleep paralysis, but I was laying in bed, and in my bedroom, bed's up against the wall in the center of the room, and we got two tables on either side of the bed, and Julia's side of the bed is the corner, and then I'm on the doorway side.
Yeah.
And the door shares the same wall as where the head of the bed is. So I wake up, and I'm a pretty bad insomniac. I have to take sleep aids. I have to take sleep aids every night that I work, but I can't take them on nights that I don't work, so they don't lose their effectiveness.
Yeah.
It's a fucking painful cycle. So I'm up and down a lot throughout the night. I rarely ever dream. I rarely ever get to sleep deep enough to the point where I dream. And usually if I do, I realize I'm asleep and dreaming, and it turns into a lucid dream. And then
I do that shit.
And then I get this like, something's off here. Oh, wait a second. Wall gone. Yes. You know what I mean? But so it wasn't, did we lose a camera?
We did.
No, it's still going.
This one here?
Oh, shoot.
Before he gets too deep into the story.
Man, I'm not gonna be able to fucking sleep tonight.
Oh God, I know it. I'm gonna turn on Bob's Burgers when I get home. Watch a couple episodes of Friends.
Some feel good,
Yeah,
fucking
some feel-good
family comedy.
About, another half hour.
Wow.
You're gonna have to split this bitch up into 3 episodes.
Oh, I
No
know.
shit. But so I'm laying there and sleeping. And sleep paralysis, they say it feels like, and some people even see something on top of them, pinning them down.
Right.
And but like they wake up like that, you know
Or
what I mean?
something in the corner of the room. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm laying there debating, I don't know, smoke a cigarette, get up, get something to drink, try to take a piss, go for a fucking walk, eat a sandwich, I don't know. And I roll over, and I always sleep on my sides or my stomach. I'm not a back sleeper. So I roll over on my left side to try to get comfortable. And so I'm facing where the door is, and the door is closed. I cannot sleep with the bedroom door open. I don't know what it is. I cannot fucking do it. Whether it's nighttime, daytime, it don't fucking matter. So I roll on my left side, trying to get comfortable, and the door's open. I was like, that's not right. Because I always close the fucking door. I have to. Like, I can, if I know that fucking door's open, like, I don't even have to be.
You can feel it.
Yeah, I can fucking feel it.
Wow.
Like, I could have my back to the door and not even able to see it. And I have to get up and fucking close it.
Yeah.
Or, like, if Julia or Michael come into the room and don't close the door, it'll fucking wake me up, that door being open.
Wow.
But so I roll on my left side, door's completely fucking open. So I'm laying there, fucking, I was like, that's not right, the fucking door's open. Well, I better close that fucking thing. I can't move. And it's like, what the fuck? And that's why I tried again. I was like, move. Couldn't fucking do it. And then pretty soon I'm fucking screaming in my head, get the fuck up and close the door. I can't fucking move. I can't even move my head. And I can barely take my fucking eyes off of this fucking door. And pretty soon, I don't know. It didn't even feel like it took that long. And a lot of people say, oh, it feels like fucking hours that you're stuck there. But it was just a few minutes or whatever the fuck. It didn't feel like time had stopped or it was a long fucking time. It just escalated really fucking quick because I'm fucking panicking. I'm telling my body to move and it won't. And then I see come around the door jamb, and then another hand, and then another hand.
Oh, wow.
And then pretty soon, it was like a slow crawl coming around the door jamb like this. And it looked like the girl from Grudge. If she was like dolled up like a geisha, kind of, is like the best way I can describe it.
Wow. Oh my God.
And the way her hair was falling, her hair wasn't falling to the left, like gravity was working.
Oh,
so
wow.
so she's coming
kind of like
through the doorway.
It's like she's peering down.
Right.
Yeah. And then starts crawling at me, and I'm laying there and I'm staring at this fucking doorway in between, because there's the table on my side of the bed. It's a little round table, and then a pole comes up, and it's also a lamp.
Yeah.
And and she crawls right up to where, like, if this is the pole of the lamp, she's like right here. And from a laying position, I can reach up and turn off my lamp.
Oh my God, dude,
wow.
that is ugly.
And so, her forehead is all but touching the bar of the lamp under the shade and above the table. And I just closed my eyes. I couldn't move. I couldn't fucking continue to stare at this fucking thing. And somehow I managed to close my eyes. And then next thing I knew, it was morning.
Wow.
And was the door shut?
No, it was still open.
Oh,
Wow.
that's disgusting right there.
Did you smell anything when she was close to you?
Not that I remember.
Not that you remember? That's fucking nuts.
What's weird, like what's really weird, like not like this whole thing isn't fucking weird.
That's so freaking
But
weird.
what's weird to me is, this is the part that gets me, is the hair. How, like, if something's peering around a corner, you'd think its hair is going to be draping toward the ground, but it was hanging in front of it, like it was peering down.
Yeah.
That is so
And
weird.
then,
like,
yeah, and then like
I pictured that when you first told me it, and it just,
Eyeballs
I don't know why, it
tingling.
just freaking bothered me.
Another tingle.
I'm glad you remembered it because, again, I fucking completely forgot about it.
Now
when you
I'm
told
not
me
gonna be able to
that, dude,
sleep
I
in that
was
room
like
tonight.
so
Yeah,
grossed
yeah.
out, man.
I'm gonna go sleep in that same fucking spot with the same fucked up table and that bullshit ass door.
Dude, I think
ugly, man.
one of the reasons, like, because I have that same thing where every door in the fucking house has to be shut for me to go to sleep. And I think it's because when I was a kid, the house we lived in, the doors opened and shut on their own.
Yeah,
And so now I have to make sure the doors are shut. And not just shut, but they have to be latched.
Yeah.
Like, Jessica has a fucking tendency to leave that door unlatched so the dog can get in and out. I'm like,
No,
fuck that
I got
dog.
that habit too, man.
Wow.
Like, I have that habit too, just like when I told you about when I was at the landfill and I pushed that door and that door latches twice. it clicks, and you push it hard, and it clicks again.
Clicks again, yeah.
And it unlatched on
To the
me.
bathroom?
Behind me, yeah, when I was there by myself early in the morning.
Scalehouse creepy,
It
man.
literally heard the handle turn and then pop. And then that pressure from it being so, tight, it popped and then slowly creaked open. And,
wow.
And then when I turned to look, I turned back and there's a spoon laying on that windowsill. That spoon comes flying off and hits the
Tina's
the
peanut
dust.
butter spoon.
Yeah. Lands right in front of me. I put that thing back on there. I'm hitting this windowsill, hitting everywhere, trying to get this spoon to fall.
Right.
And it was not happening.
Dude, I was sitting in the chair at the scale house where the main window is, where the scale is, and was like looking at my phone, and somebody walked past that window.
That happens to me too. That happens
And
to me
so
all
I
the time.
figured it was a customer. Fucking walked past the other window, and at that point of the day, the sun was real bright, so I had the shade down on that one side. You know how that is. And freaking was waiting for somebody to walk in the door, and nobody ever walked in the door. So I walked out there thinking because there's some people that are kind of dumb. They won't walk in there. They'll just wait on the outside of that door. So I went out there. There's nobody there. I'm up there by myself.
Yep, that happens a lot. That happened to me a couple times when I work Saturdays, and it's miles out of town. It's like in the middle of fucking nowhere. So like nobody's just gonna come walking up.
No.
You're gonna know that they're there.
Yeah, and you will hear a vehicle cross a cattle guard to get there.
Yeah, so that's like
Never hear it.
Well, as we're talking,
yeah.
Alethea was messaging me saying that she's hearing scratching on the ceiling in Al's house.
It's probably Al.
back. Yeah. It's
I hope he looks like that too.
It's his toenails.
Just go up there, Al scurrying around.
That is
Cut
so
your
ugly,
toenails.
man.
Oh, my bad.
Oh man.
Well, does that do it for the
gross.
podcast?
Yeah, like
For now.
that's the one I
If
really
you got
wanted to
any
hear,
more-
and I'm glad I remembered it because
I got
me,
one more. I'm gonna.
I was gonna say that's disgusting, and I don't want to sleep tonight. And I have to work.
That's the one I knew was gonna bother me, and I just had to have these people here. So y'all,
Dude, I tried to erase that from my mind the first time he told me that story. It's like, oh, gross! Burn your house down.
Gross. Fucking set it on fire. So here recently, fuck, this is hard to talk about. So, 2017, you guys know my brother passed away.
Yeah.
Travis. When we were kids, we used to fuck with each other about if I die first, I'm gonna haunt you.
Right.
Okay.
Oh man.
As you would do with your siblings.
So we here in this house, this is a newer house. I think it's like a 2002 or something. As far as I know, there's never been any kind of a death in the house or anything. Well, since Travis has passed away, it was a little bit of time afterwards we started hearing random footsteps and random scratching, random knocking and door handle jiggling and that kind of thing.
Which used to happen while Travis was here because he just wandered in at any time of the night.
yeah, and yeah, he was a different character, and he lived here. This was the last place he lived. Here, the other day, while I was at work, my parents, the stuff of Travis's that was left here, my parents took. Mm-hmm. They left one piece of wall art, and it's a little metal guitar with like wavy sheet music behind it.
Oh yeah.
Well, it was hanging in Michael's room. It's been hanging there ever since. It's the only thing that got left here. Fuck, hold on.
You got to give us a picture of that. If you want, we can place it over so people
grab it.
know.
Right. I remember it sitting in Michael's room on the wall. Yeah.
Right.
Michael, while I was at work the other day, climbed up, almost smoked his TV in his room. He climbed up on top of his dresser almost smoked his TV and took this thing off the wall and dropped it, trying to get back off of the dresser.
Mm-hmm.
And it's metal. The whole thing's made out of metal, so it made a big crash and a big noise. And so his mom ran in there and figured bleeding kid, you know what I mean? And Michael's just happier than a clam with himself. And Julie didn't know what the hell he was doing. She said, you need to stay off of there. You're going to get hurt, kind of thing. So I come home, eat dinner, and I'm laying on the couch. We're watching TV. And she's telling me about Michael getting on his dresser and picking this thing up. And so I asked him, I said, what were you doing, buddy? He says, Uncle Travis wanted it.
Wow.
Wow.
I've never talked to him about Uncle Travis.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I don't talk about it. I can't.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
They don't know who Uncle Travis is.
Wow.
Oh,
Wow, man.
That's a crazy one.
That is a really, really good story right there.
I mean, it happens, and it's
Yeah.
strange when it does happen.
Yeah, it is.
Or you have a kid or someone who hasn't met somebody, and they describe him to you, and the way they talk about him, it's like how that person would be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Who was that said that? Was Papa in the kitchen? Was that Cassius?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of the same thing. The way he was talking.
Right.
Yeah, like stories like that, man. Those ones always get me.
Right.
So yeah, I can understand how that would be like kind of hard to get out, because like when you have a story like that, it's like kind of hard to talk about.
Right.
Yeah, he passed away 2 weeks after we found out we were pregnant with Michael.
Wow.
He's never met him.
And those are the stories I like hearing, because you see the effect it has.
Yeah.
And you have all these other stories that are kind of cool and crazy, and then you have these ones that are actually, there's a connection
Like
there.
really close to the heart.
Right.
Yeah.
Does it just tear you up, Erin, or is it kind of comforting?
What's that?
Travis being here.
I don't know.
Don't know yet. Just can't wrap around it.
Like after all these other ones that we're talking about, that one actually kind of was like a feel good story.
Right.
Good
Right.
to it.
Wow.
Like that did that. Like it's a different kind of feeling.
Yeah, it was
Right. I think it's getting that guitar. Wow, that thing is awesome.
still sad, but like comforting kind of in a way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like I had like, some stories like that I've only talked to like my mom about or my dad.
Goddamn mask.
Wow, that thing is awesome.
Jeez, that thing is solid,
Yeah. But I mean, it's hung on that same wall since he put it there.
Right.
Wow. Man, that thing's awesome.
What an Indian giver. He was trying to take his fucking guitar back. Jerk. I hope you hear that, dude.
That is pretty cool.
It's just the fact that he goes and reaches for something that was his,
Right.
and then not only that, says his name.
I mean, you can't say that's a coincidence
That
either.
is not a coincidence.
There's no coincidence there.
There's no way in hell that could be a coincidence.
Right. Wow.
Actually, like I said, I don't talk about him. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Right.
Yep.
It's not something he's heard a whole bunch of times.
Right.
And then to go for the one thing that's still here that was his, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Wow.
And then even hours later, I mean, he's only 3.5 years old, and he still specifically remembered Uncle Travis wanted his guitar.
Wow.
Man.
I would come back for it. That thing's awesome.
And then, like, his mom was sitting right there when he said it. And I turned and kind of looked at her, and she was fucking deer in the headlights, you know?
Wow.
Man. Yeah, that story got me, man. That's a really good story right there.
I think a good ending
Yeah, it
to
is.
the podcast. So does that do it for you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast, and I'll probably put it out the whole
And
thing.
apologies, Oprah. Actually, no, fuck that.
Yeah, no apologies here.
No apologies.
She's wiping her eyes with money.
Well, my name is Salinik. This is Marcus, and we have Erin and Erin here from After Horizons, and you're listening to Fallen Out Radio. Awesome.
Boom.
Finger guns, goddammit.
Oh,
I
finger
did.
guns.
I only got one hand.
When there is no more room in hell, the dead will walk the earth.
If you're not of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, you're not welcome here.
In the middle of the night, ghosts tried to talk to me.
It's interdimensional, so we are living in a multi-dimensional environment.
He's bending down, doing something. He says he sees a shadow. He turns around and there's nobody there.
The power of Christ compels you.
I want you to tell me whether you remember what happened to you when you died.
I went blind, then I had an hemorrhage, and I fell asleep, and I died in a chair, in the corner downstairs.
How can we kill you, Bill?
By faith, God.